Test, test. Hey guys, welcome to the Omaha RIA. We're gonna get started here. Just a couple of notes. If you guys parked into the Holiday Inn parking lot directly behind us, there's QR codes all over the parking lot. And you would definitely need to scan that code. And the free parking code is REIAG, G for guests. If you have any problems with that, you can go to the girls at the front desk and they'll help you with the free parking code, but do that, they will ticket you. So definitely take care of that. But we do, and I'll go around here real quick. We do have some sponsors on the side here that I want to shout out. And we'll start over here. Do you guys want, who's going to be speaking? Elena? So first off, tonight's event sponsor is A1. And we want to tell us a little bit about your business and what you guys offer. Oh, and then we got to look at the camera.
I look at the camera. A1 Kitchen and Bath is a semi-custom cabinet line that we offer shaker-style cabinets as well as countertops, LVP, all in stock. Come see us down at 72nd and Ave. Thank you.
And I've definitely used you guys too. So besides on investment properties, before even Rio was around, I've been using you guys for my personal homes. You guys have done my granite in every house. And so I appreciate everything you guys do and appreciate your support. Come check out all the lines of stuff they have, cabinetries, and get a fancy bag over here. And then you guys do offer a 10% discount to RIA members. So we appreciate it very much. Thanks for being a sponsor tonight. Over here, we got Tom Billieu with Thrasher Basements. Tom, thanks for coming out tonight. You're starting to become a little staple around here. You want to tell us a little bit about Thrasher and what services that you guys offer, and specifically the services that you offer?
Thrashers, we do anything that has to do with basement and foundation repair, concrete lifting, leveling, also waterproofing, basement waterproofing, concrete lifting, sealing, and gutters. We do those now. We also own a company called Hello Garage, so if you're interested in doing any type of garage repair. I specifically work with the realtors and real estate investors. I'm more of a property advisor to actually go out there and look at things for you, typically on a timely basis. So that's what I enjoy doing.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. And one thing that we need to do is get you out because my pool deck is like starting to slant like this, and I need to get lifted back up. So maybe if you get it open next week, you can come out and check that out. Yeah, sooner the better. Okay, over here we're at the JM Real Estate Capital. I got Rob over here. So we can hope. There we go. Rob, you want to tell us a bit about the services you offer in your company?
Thanks, Ted. Rob, JM Real Estate Capital. You need money for a rental, purchase, or refinance? Give me a call. It's easy. No tax returns, no experience, no W-2s, no BS. 844-we close. It's 844-we close. Give you away a couple of books. So if you got a business card or you want to stick one of my blank business cards in here, come on down, win a book later. Thank you.
So right now, what kind of money down do you need to get a loan, and what's the longest term that we can do right now?
You do a 30-year fixed, okay? You could do it interest only. You could do it not interest only. Rates start in the low sevens on a 30-year fix. Not bad for an investment property with no tax returns. It's great for your, it's great for your entrepreneurs out there. You don't need a job. It's like one of those old ninja loans, right? If you guys are coming out of a rehab, if you get some money from liquid lending and you're coming out of a rehab, call me. We can refinance it. Put you in a 30-year fixed, rent it out, and make some money and build some equity.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Rob. And over here, just so he mentioned the books. And our book giveaway tonight is Recession Proof Real Estate by Jay Scott. So it's one of our books we're giving away. Got this at Bigger Pockets Conference. And JM Real Estate Capital is providing Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So the Purple Bible. Just pop your card in there. We're going to do the drawing for that at the end. And our last sponsor here is Marty McGuire of Blackstone Insurance. I don't know where he is. There we go. Here he's running over. Marty, you want to tell us a bit about your business and how you help our investors out here?
I suppose. Thank you. Hi, Marty McGuire, Blackstone Insurance Group. I am an insurance broker. Work with a lot of real estate investors. I do single families, Airbnb, short-term rentals, 1 to 4 units, apartments, hotels. As a broker, I go out there and I shop it with a bunch of different companies, make sure we're getting the best price. I know it's a really tough market right now, in particular for apartment buildings that are over 25 years. So I have multiple options there. I just picked up a new property program that's very promising that I've been looking for a while. So the rates are right, the coverages are right. So if you have an older apartment building and you want somebody to take a second look at it, give me a shout. Thanks.
Thank you, Marty. Appreciate it, buddy. Okay, let's get up here and I'll get into the show today. I'm so used to having my little area up here to put my stuff, but we'll sit in an old school spot here for today. A couple announcements today. Want to give a shout out. By the time I typed this and by the time we went out, this number increased, but our Facebook group, which I know a lot of you guys are part of, hit 6,000 followers on there. So now 6,100 followers since this morning. So thank you guys for that. Appreciate your support. Now we have 450-ish members that are part of this organization, probably close to 475 after tonight. So if we could turn another, 1,000 of those Facebook members, we'd have a really good turnout here tonight. A couple updates. On sponsorships, we do have some new and renewed sponsors we want to shout out. One of our newest sponsors is Realty One Group Sterling. Thank you to Kim Stevens and her group for that. They signed up for a gold sponsorship. Thank you to them. Also, Momentum Exterior Services. They signed up for a bronze sponsorship. Tom Gurley. They specialize in doing gutters, window cleaning, pressure washing, temporary Christmas lights, and permanent Christmas lights. They're based out of Red Oak, Iowa. They hit this area. And Tom has just signed up last week. They're providing a 10% discount to all of our members. So it's really hard to find somebody to clean windows, I feel like. So it might be a good option for you guys. Orange Property Management renewed as a gold sponsor. They're offering no fees for the first month. So thank you to Austin Compton and his group for that. And also Liquid Lending renewed as a gold sponsor. They're offering $300 off your first deal with them. And that's Owen Dasher and Colin Schwartz. So thank you guys. And thanks for all the news and renewed sponsors. Give them a round of applause. They do a lot for our group. So today's drink sponsor tonight is Homes.com. It's our first national drink sponsor, so that's pretty sweet. Jake Danker is our local rep. Jake, if you're up here, you want to come give us a little information about Homes.com? While he's walking up here, what the drink sponsor does is after the event tonight, there's Burger Theory. It's literally attached to the building. You just go across the hallway, and the first round of drinks are getting taken care of by Homes.com, plus maybe a little some, depending on how many people show up, right? But it's important because we always find that the best networking happens after one of these events. So if you got some deals, who usually hangs out for the after hours events? Yeah, see, we got some good hands there. You notice that they're like this? They're not like loud and proud. There we go. There's those hands. Jake, thank you for sponsoring that. And we tell us a little bit about Homes.com?
Yeah, absolutely. So Homes.com is under the umbrella of CoStar Group. Many of you have heard about CoStar Group as a whole. Basically, we have apartments.com, homes.com, apartments.com. I already said that. LoopNet and CoStar as a product. CoStar as a product, what we do is we track all commercial properties, whether they are on or off the market. So let's say one of you guys are looking for 15-unit apartment complexes in Omaha. You can run a quick search. You can pull a whole list of every single 15-unit apartment complex in Omaha. And what we will give you is we will give you the true owner contact name, not just an LLC, the actual person that owns it, and some data analytics on the side of that, as well as comps. Homes.com is for your realtors in the group. What we do there is we are working different than your Zillow and your Realtor.com in the sense that your information will always be, your contact information as the listing agent will always be prominently listed on that property. So If you're the listing agent, your name will always be on there. No other agents can get leads off of your property. And we're just trying to change the market in that way. I will not be able to be here after the event, but I did leave some marketing materials in the back for both CoStar as what you can do on the commercial side and homes.com, what you can do on the realtor side with some cards. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm always there to meet up with you for a one-on-one meeting. So yeah, thank you very much for coming out, and please enjoy some drinks on me. Sorry.
The drinks are on you, buddy. That's awesome. Okay, so I mentioned it before, but I know we're all talking. There's a book giveaway. It's at the JM Real Estate Capital booth at the end. Put your card or write your name on it. We are giving away Jay Scott's book, and it's called Recession Proof Real Estate Investing. It's one of those books that we got bigger pockets, and it's one that you definitely want to read. This is the time to read it, trust me. Update on our podcast. We just had Mark Simpson on last week from Boostly. Boostly is one of those sites that builds your short-term stay website. I'm actually getting one built right now. Hopefully it'll be done here in a couple weeks. So I'll definitely share that with you guys as I get it done. But there's some great tips and tricks if you're a short-term investor. One tip I took out of it was that he mentioned getting when you have an Airbnb and you're trying to get the internet, and you like a hotel, you got to log in, put your name, room number, and stuff. Well, it's the same type of program. And so there's a box. I forgot what it's called. Was it Sci-Fi? Stayfi. Yeah. So you log it. You do the Stayfi. You put your name in. You put your email in. It says it opens up the internet, and they'll automatically upload that into your MailChimp. And then you can set it up to send them automatically a welcome email. And it can be like a video on there, but then it's automatically in your monthly or weekly drip campaign to get them to book your place next year and not go through Airbnb. So it's just one of those tips that we take out. I try to take one thing from each one. That was my one thing on that one. Great podcast last week. Justin Cambra, he ran all of the real estate investing department for Amazon. So he created a meetup group just like this for Amazon in Seattle. And it went national and I think worldwide. And so now they bring in some of the biggest names to speak virtually to their Amazon people about real estate investing. And then since then, he's left Amazon. Some predecessors he's had have taken that, kept on that trend. And now he's just a full-time real estate investor. Great conversation. That will be out tomorrow. We have Ashley Kerr coming up and Jeff Holst coming up. One fun thing is that we technically are moving the podcast studio right now. We've been in the same spot now for the last 3 years. And so it's super exciting. We worked a deal out with our sponsorship with Realty One, and we are taking a back office there. And we got some pictures if you want to see it, but it is absolutely beautiful. So thank you to Realty One for the partnership on this. We're excited about it. I got pictures today. Did you see it, Dennis? I mean, it looks sick. So you guys are gonna love it. We should be having video with every episode from this point on. So starting tomorrow. So we'll be excited to share that with you. Also, just a special thank you to the Holiday Inn staff. The girls back there take a really good care of us. I always say it every time. It's the main reason we come back. And I mean, the venue's amazing, so don't get me wrong there, but those girls take great care of us. The drinks that you have here or the food that you order here transfers over there. Show them that you're a RIA member, and you get 25% off of your dinner tonight. There's no discount on drinks, but you can take advantage of the free drinks we're going to get next door. But those tabs do transfer over. So can you give a big round of applause for the staff here? So they do a lot of work to take care of them. And if you guys have too much fun tonight and too many old fashions, if you don't take an Uber, there is a special coupon we get to get $99 rooms here. So take advantage of that. Also, just kind of upcoming events. We have an Omaha RIA luncheon, and that is going to be on Friday, April 19th, 11:30 to 1. The room fits about 45 people. We've been getting a lot of booking all spots in there. So come early if you can. It's open to members and non-members. Just a networking group. There's no presenter. Biggest presentation you're going to get is me just saying the upcoming events that are coming. Otherwise, it's about you guys. It's about getting to know the people in the room, so that way you know who to sit with when you come to the big events. But we want to get to know the people, what they're doing, and what they're looking for. We say it's meet, mingle, and talk about your successes. It's my favorite networking event to go to. Sorry to the people that are in my other networking groups that I attend, but I love it, and I hope you love it too. So we'll hope to see you there on Friday. There's a national RIA Zoom call that we have every month. It's on the same day. It's always at that date, and I believe that's at 4 o'clock, and it's Friday, April 19th. If you're a member, you're automatically a national member, you should be getting an email on that, but if not, you can always go to omaharia.com and register for that. We have a masterclass on Burr Method. Where's Jose? Jose Pena is going to be speaking next month. If you guys don't know Jose, give a big wave. Jose's been a friend of the RIA and a friend of mine for lots of years now. I've been looking up to him and everything he's doing. He has taken on the Hispanic RIA group and it had massive success on it. There's no English being spoken at that group, right? Yep. And so they're doing great things. He's doing great things. I support him and check it out. But what we're calling it is Unlocking Wealth Through Real Estate and Mastermind on the Burr Method with Jose Pena. That'll be Tuesday, May 7th. We did have an event change. We originally, and all these flyers are in the back resource table. And if you guys have any resources, you can put them back there too, just so you know. Originally, we were going to have Colin and Jason doing Mastering the Market with Real Estate Strategies. That event got moved to September 3rd. So that event is still happening. We just moved it out a couple months. Also, Rookie RIA, Wednesday, April 10th. They're doing a property tour like they always do. Where's Ryan? Ryan, there he is. How was the trip, buddy? Good. So Ryan runs Rookie RIA, and they have meetup events, but they also showcase properties almost every month, unless you're having a regular meeting, right? And so showcasing an Airbnb that I've been working on for quite a while. It might be furnished, but it'll definitely be done. And how he does these events, it's really cool. Literally, you walk in, and in this case, it'll be me. I'm going to be an open book. I'm like, hey, here's the contractor I use. Here's the wood floor guy I use. Here's who did the windows and the roofing. And all those vendors are going to be there. And you guys can talk to them, ask them questions, go over pricing. You can ask what I failed in, what I could do better, and everything above and beyond. So I'm going to be an open book. We do have running water. We're going to have working toilets, heat, air, and even the TVs are already installed. Albert's flooring is there right now. We're finishing the floors, so just to get it done in time. So we appreciate them and thanking out. But these are great events. Again, the flyers are in the back wall. I know we got a lot to cover here, but there's a lot of stuff coming up. And the funnest thing that we do every year is our charity golf outing. Have you guys done this? So this year we're going to be at Indian Creek, July 23rd. It's a partnership with Omaha Real Estate Meetup Group. And this is done with Blackstone Insurance, Marty McGuire. He's the one that took this on, helped get this started. And so, Marty, thank you for everything that you do with this. And so this will be a fun one. We got a nice course. Even Owen gave his blessing, and he's the biggest course snob I've ever met in my life. And so, Owen, you gave your blessing on this, right? Indian Creek? Yeah, see, there you go. He gave a thumbs up on it. Otherwise, he would give you a thumbs down. But we're known for having a lot of fun at these events, and we've sold out a couple in the past. So definitely check it out. There's foursomes. If your company would like to do a sponsorship, or if you know somebody would do a sponsorship, that's huge for us. And there's a flyer with all the sponsorship packages on the back table, and that would mean a ton if you could do that. All the money goes to Omaha Home for the Boys. We're not keeping any of the profits like we do every year. And so your support on that would be super appreciative. So any questions on that at all? I know there's a big mouthful. So at this time, I'm going to ask all of our panelists to go ahead and start coming up as I kind of go through my introduction here. But yeah, so Owen, Colin, Brad, David, Ben, feel free to take a spot. I made some really awesome name tags for you guys too. So I didn't know which one to go. I start off with Flippin' Master O. But I thought Owen Old School Dasher was good. And then we have Capital Colin, Builder Brad, Dave Deal Architect Bader, and Ben Swiss Property Cat. We'll get into all that here in a minute. You want to keep this and maybe sign it and hand it out to somebody? Okay, cool. Should be fun. Okay, so hey, we haven't done a panel in a long time, and I just want to let you guys know how this works before we get started here. There is a microphone right there. These guys are going to have all the extra microphones. Those are mine. Don't steal my questions. And and so if you have a question, we ask you go up to the microphone. The reason this is important, we are live streaming all this, and that way everybody can hear it and see you. That way people are just throwing up questions. All the extra microphones are up here, so I do not have a microphone I can run around with you. So again, please come up here. We will allow each person here to 5 to 10 minutes to talk about their business and what they do. The idea is that you have the questions to bring to these guys. If you guys slow down, don't have questions, I did pre-write some questions that we're going to hand out. I did send them to them to give them a heads up on them. Were they okay? Dave, you really took it serious. So you're the only one who responded. You actually answered them and mailed them back to me. I appreciate that. I mean, Dave sends them back. Owen calls me. He's like, "Are you ever going to email that out?" I said, "I sent it out." But again, it's about you guys. It's about you asking the questions. So we just ask that you come to the mic and ask from there. But just want to welcome everybody tonight to Under the Omaha Skyline, where the real estate isn't just business, it's a passion, a lifestyle, and sometimes a wild ride. Tonight, we're diving into the depths of property and investment with a lineup that is diverse as it is experienced. Really experienced right here. He's got a lot of years. First on the list is Owen Dashner, the man who's been in the game for over 20 years. Yes, you heard it right, 20 years. And Owen's expertise isn't just vast, it's practically encyclopedia. From flipping single-family homes to transforming hotels into multifamily havens, he's done it all. And he's, let's not forget, he's my partner on crime on the RIA Radio podcast, where we have a little too much fun while dropping knowledge bombs about each other. Got something to say? I heard you tap it there. Colin Schwartz takes the stage next. Our very own local real estate royalty. Colin has a knack of leveraging just about anything to turn a profit, including an impressive portfolio that speaks volumes to his strategy and savviness. With his leading role at Leavenworth Capital, he's not just playing the game, he's changing it and how it's played, showing us all it's possible to build an empire one investment at a time. Builder Brad over here, Brad Bader, who proves that the real estate is just more than layers with a well-staged home. Brad's story takes us from the ground up to quite literally from the roots of construction to his venture into the niche world of storage units. His journey is a reminder that sometimes the most rewarding paths are the ones less traveled. David Bader is up, and if you thought real estate wholesaling was just some side gig, think again. David has turned this into an art, wholesaling large apartment buildings into full-blown career, crafting deals and opportunities with precision and as a master chef. His success are not just transitions or transactions, they're transformations impacting neighborhoods and investing alike. Rounding off our panel is Ben Catt, the adventure of real estate. Exploring territories from camping grounds to commercial real estate spaces, Ben's portfolio is eclectic as his approach, driven by a blend of curiosity and savvy that makes him an investment unique journey. His ventures remind us of that real estate as a world is truly an oyster. But tonight, we're not just here to listen, but to engage, learn, and maybe even rethink our strategies. With this incredible lineup, we're set to dive deep into stories, strategies, and experience that define our vibrant real estate community. I just want to tell you one thing here, that this group, besides being close friends, I met everybody here, except Dave, but through specifically through this group and networking before I was even running it. So this is what it's all about. You got some of the biggest influencers in the city in real estate investing, but definitely in this group. So definitely grasp onto what they're saying. I'm excited about this panel. I'm excited that you guys all said yes. But with that, Owen, we could tell us a little about you and start it off.
I don't remember ever being asked. I got a flyer and somehow I was positioned at the top of it saying I was speaking. So let's just put that out there. Hey gang, good to see you guys. Owen Dashner. I started, as Ted mentioned, 19 years ago, not over 20. I gotta claim these years because they're flying by. But I started in single family flips. I would flip a house by a rental. I did that for a few years while working a W-2 full-time job in corporate HR and recruiting. Eventually started buying smaller multifamily buildings in 2014. I would trade up and I would trade up into larger properties, and then in about, I think it was 2020, Colin and a couple other business partners, Chris Pomerlew and Brandon Tauber, we ended up starting a hard money lending business, which is called Liquid Lending Solutions. Probably several of you in here have worked with us on funding your projects, and we appreciate that. I've also been involved recently in a syndication, my first one. Colin's much more adept and seasoned in that facet than I am, but I'm in the process of repositioning a hotel in Branson, Missouri into a 143 unit apartment complex. So that's got a lot of unique challenges. I've never done a repositioning project like this either. I've never been a GP, which is a general partner in a project or a sponsor. So I've got a lot of new stuff that I've gone through with this, which is kind of fun after doing, flips and rentals and all that kind of stuff over the years. And then of course, Ted and I, a couple of years ago, we decided to, Ted somehow convinced me to join the man Denless and him with RIA Radio, and that's been one of the highlights of my week every week. So we appreciate all the listeners. We need pump those numbers up though. We need some more 5-star reviews. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and my background. Here's Colin.
Guys, what was the timing on that? No, seriously, that was the fastest. That was incredible. Thank you, Owen. Just FYI, Owen's been a massive mentor to me, as well as everybody on this stage. I started in 2017. It was actually January 1st, 2017. I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was working a corporate job. I got up after reading that book and basically banged my head up against the wall, wondering what the F I was doing with my life. Seriously, I was like, okay, I'm going to sit in this grind for the next 40 plus years. A couple days later, got back to my job. My boss said, I can't take unpaid time off anymore. I was about to have my second child. I look across my desk and I see somebody who was exactly 30 years older than me that had a countdown timer of 1,000 days. 1,000 days until they retired. And that was his only goal. If he could press a button, he would have skipped through 1,000 days. And I realized in that moment, it was incredibly emotional that something needed to change. I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. My parents bought their first home when they were 50. It was $109,000 in Belen, New Mexico. I don't think they put any cash down because I think that was some government spending contract or something that was coming up. So was not used to real estate. So I started getting into it and like, how am I going to figure this out? So I started calling agents. Well, I said I was looking for a 7.5, 8 cap, 10% cash on cash returns. And basically I got laughed at because there's plenty of guys in the industry with experience that were going to get those deals before me. So I feel like most of my life has been choosing the hard route. So I said, once again, F it. I'm going to figure this out on my own. I'm going to start marketing to off-market people. Found listsource.com. I don't know if it's still around. I'm pretty sure it is, but you can aggregate data. You can look for anybody that owns property. You can dwindle it down. Basically consolidated a list to 191 people that I was going to market to. Sat around one weekend with a beer in my hand, my son in the other, and I wrote 191 letters. And my wife's like, "What are you doing?" But she knew I was crazy anyways, so she just kind of went along for the ride. And I sent those letters out, and during meetings, my phone started ringing, and they kept ringing. And I started talking to sellers. Didn't know what I would say, but what I found out is that people love to talk about themselves. So I let them talk about themselves over and over and over again, and I gained a good rapport with them. So that means I got to step the foot in the door. Out of that campaign, I landed 7 deals. One of them, which is my second property, was a duplex bought for $98,000. Ended up selling it for $240,000. I was making $84K a year at the time. So obviously a big jump. From there, I've had a property under contract since April 24th of 2017. I almost went a day, and about 11 o'clock at night, this is a few years ago, I got one under contract. So I continued with that. I kept buying small multifamilies. I also realized, once again, back to the choosing hard, I said, I'm going to do property management. Why? Because nobody wants to do it and everybody complains about it, but it's a necessity. And I think that's really important in this business. You find the things that are necessary that nobody wants to do, and there'll always be a space for you. In times like this, when the market's all over the place, interest rates are high, everybody's having trouble refinancing, underwriting deals. If you can do the things that nobody else can do, when the market was rising, it was really easy to make money. We've done over probably 65 full cycle projects. That means we purchased a property and done 100% cash out refinance on that 65 times. That's all multifamily projects. That's during that time. That was great. That was an awesome run up. I haven't refinanced a property in 18 months. It's time to operate differently. But continued there, and through that, another project that I put an offer in on, I happened to meet my partner at. He was competing on the deal. He did not get it, unfortunately, but I did. And his name's Chris Pomerleau. He was actually, it was a divorce, and he was defending or on the other side of the person that was selling it. So I don't think she would have sold it to him at any price. But this guy in a suit walks in, I'm in very casual wear meeting with contractors, and he's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Who the hell are you?" And yeah, we ended up competing at properties over and over. Ted was as an agent. We kept showing up the same place, built up a rapport, and said, well, hell, let's instead of fighting against each other, let's see if we can do this together. Since then, we've grown to 2,600 rental units. We're in 7 states right now. A lot of growing pains along the way. During the early stages, as I said, starting property management, started Bricktown Management. I've got some of my old homies in here, Bree, Brad, big shout out. Thank you guys. They helped build the company and build what we have today, built a great culture. But have continued building that. We have a team of all-stars on our team now. So we have about 10 employees that are just on the equity side, on the ownership side. We have since merged with a different property management company. And this is also, kind of a lesson. I had to learn to pivot. I only had 20, 30 hours a week to spend in a property management company when I probably needed to spend 70, because I had all these other business opportunities going on. So I found a good set of operators. I partnered with them, and now we're Point Guard Omaha. So currently we're managing about 1,800 units. And that's really allowing us to scale and to continue to move in other markets. Owen had mentioned we started a hard money lending company, and this is another great story. It started with, hey, what are you doing? You want to grab lunch? Sure, I'm sitting at the office. Let's grab some lunch. And we turned that into a $1 million fund overnight. Gave that $1 million to this guy over here. Lost it, I think, for about 24 to 48 hours, but we got it back. So it worked. It worked. Well, it felt like an eternity, but hey, it worked. So since then, we've grown to, and Owen's really humble about this. He's the one that spearheaded it. He is the one that allowed that business to grow traction, really provided the customer service with it. So now we sit at about 17 million. What have we done? About close to 400 loans, 350. Yeah, about 400 loans, 384 loans. It's awesome business, and it's a business that I utilize. I don't get any preferred rate, and I still borrow it because if the deal makes sense, the deal makes sense. Yeah, and that's kind of where I am today. All right, Brad, you.
All right. Boss man told me to switch up mics here. Colin's crackling a little. Well, I honestly didn't figure we would make it to me in the slightest following these two. I thought our time would be up, but nice job, fellas. We made it this far, so I'll keep it short and sweet. Get to the meat of the guys up here that know a hell of a lot more than I do. I'm honored to be here. Thanks a lot, Ted. I feel very humbled to be sitting up here at this table right now. I'll give you my quick version of me. Construction background is very heavy since I was a teenager. I've been in construction the whole time, and kind of leveraged that up through the years and degrees and licensing and things like that into a pretty decent flipping business for several years, and never learned to buy and hold a lot of property along the way until recently, and dove into several various asset classes, one of them being storage. I'm happy to discuss any of the details to go along with that. I may not know the answers, and I might. But if you have any specific questions or interests in construction specifically, that's a little simpler and easier for me to answer in general. Commercial or residential, either one. I do have a Class A license there, so I can talk at any level on construction pretty confidently. But the storage units, yeah, we got one project there I can discuss. And like I said, various asset classes. I'm the guy that raises his hand for all of Ted's crap. I swear he targets me on some of that. Who owns one of these? Who owns one of these? And I'm the guy that owns one of them, but not 13 of anything. So just here to basically answer questions. And if I can add value to anybody, I'm happy to do so. And look forward to some of your questions. Thanks.
So Brad's super humble. He was like valedictorian in high school. He's my older brother, by the way. Ted, for some reason, is confused sometimes and thinks I'm the older one, but that pisses me off. So I want to get that straight. I am younger than Brad, and he was always the valedictorian. Did a good job of breaking my parents in, so I could get in more trouble. So I want to thank him for that first of all. And I never had a plan growing up. I'm a complete solo entrepreneur. I have less corporate experience than anybody I've ever met, anybody in here. I went to a community college, had an unexpected daughter at 19. And I was actually working construction from our shop teacher in the summers when I was in high school. And I didn't know, but he was actually like flipping houses around this lake. We were just doing like additions in the summer. And he was making like $100,000 on these little Johnson Lake flips in the middle of Nebraska. So I was doing that. And then I worked construction through college. And then I moved to Lincoln when I was 21 and worked construction until I was 25. And I started doing odd jobs on the side for this realtor who was flipping houses. His dad was pretty loaded and banked him. And so he really didn't know a whole lot, but he would be like, Dave, what do you think we should do with this house? And I'd be like, oh, we should do this, this, and this, this. He's like, okay, go ahead. And then he would leave and it would be great. And I could just bill him. And so I would do the construction on the whole house, me and another guy and a couple other little helpers he had. So that's when I started my own little construction company at 25. And then we didn't get paid for a big job when I was about 30. And before that, I started going to seminars on how to like these no money down deals. And I was like, ooh, is this? And I believed the people. I was dumb enough to believe them. And then I studied all these people and they were like, well, the ones who are the most successful, like started off broke and were in these horrendous situations. So like, I just jumped into a couple different projects that I shouldn't have done. Like we went way over budget, didn't get paid. I blew a bunch of money. So I started like 50,000 in debt. And I was like, all right, now this is where I want to start my real estate business because that's what I saw was successful at all these other people. So I learned how to wholesale houses 11 years ago. I did my first deal in like January of 2013. And nobody was wholesaling houses back then. It was super easy. I could throw a bandit sign, a We Buy House bandit sign up in Lincoln. And like I would get calls and I was so bad, I didn't know what to do, but like I just stumbled my way through it. And so I just kept wholesaling more and more houses. Then I was smart enough. I knew how to flip houses too. So I started flipping houses. Now I've flipped probably over 100 houses in Lincoln. And now I've just kept escalating to where now I'm doing large apartment deal acquisitions. And, I restructure those like this architect. Thanks, Ted, for the name. But I mean, Nate and I just closed on $30 million worth of apartment deals in Lincoln this year. And there were 3 separate properties where I restructured each of them. And one of them we did a syndication. The other one we just sold off. And the other one we did a JV deal with like 5 other people. And I also run Nate Eccles and I run small business where we're just buying apartments in smaller markets right now, because I'm always looking for the need in the market. And I don't know what, I'd love to get everybody else's opinion on what the biggest need in the market is right now. In my opinion, it's cash flowing properties, because I can't find nothing to cash flow. So that's why we're going into these smaller markets, because we're getting stuff at 20 to 30,000 a unit. And we can do the, 2% rule where they're renting for 600. So that is the only thing I can find to cash flow. So I'm doing that right now. I'm asset managing a few hundred units, and just always looking for bigger deals that we can restructure and, try to create a win-win situation. I mean, I'm always looking at the seller situation, trying to figure out what that big problem is. And then I'm always looking at the buyer situation to figure out how I can solve these. Like right now, to me, the biggest problem is cash flowing assets. So I'm going out and trying to solve that for buyers in the market right now.
Okay, my name's Ben. And just follow everybody else up. Just like Dave, no corporate experience. I've never really had a W-2. I grew up when I was young, selling stuff door to door, collecting golf balls, selling golf balls, and then sold pizza for the football games, and then was a ticket scalper, which was really good money. And then in college, I switched and I had a jet ski rental company, which was just an awesome summer job where I get to hang out at the lake all day, every day, and either make money or ride a jet ski, and did some fireworks stands. So I've had a lot of random small business type stuff. In college, junior year, me and a buddy bought a house, and that was my first taste of really doing real estate myself. I grew up, my dad was a real estate attorney, so I was kind of following him around, and really, really lucky to kind of see deals firsthand, him putting together deals. One of his longtime clients, Steve Shampoos, we do deals together all the time. And I mean, having those two guys to kind of lead me through what I've learned has been just unbelievable. But I bought my first house in college, finished off the basement, rented out a bunch of rooms, was making money every month with a buddy, and it was great. After that, I tried law school, moved to Boston for a couple years. Law school wasn't for me. I dropped out and made my way back to Omaha in 2012, which is when I first started buying really investment properties. So really, really lucky. I mean, phenomenal time to get started. And then my business partner, Mike, he had some experience. He'd worked for America First, so seen much larger deals he'd worked on. But we bought a couple fourplexes next to each other, tripled rents, and just created a bunch of equity. So from that time on, it's been buy, fix, the Burr method. So we rehabbed those, pulled cash out, bought another couple houses, and then we bought a bank portfolio. And then it's just kind of, we've never taken dollars out. It's just kind of rolled and rolled and rolled. A couple years later, we had a young real estate agent who was hungry. He showed us a couple deals. We bought a couple things from him. His name was Max, and now he's a longtime business partner of mine as well. We got started. There's a frat house, an abandoned frat house for sale that seemed like a smoking deal. It was this huge mansion on 31st in Chicago. I really, really liked it. And Mike, one of my partners, he's much less tolerant for risk, and he didn't want to do it. He wanted nothing to do with it. And Max raised his hand. He's like, "Oh, I'll go do it. Let's buy it." So that started me and Max buying properties. We've continued to do the same thing over and over again. When I first started, I was finding deals, doing the construction, managing some guys, and then also doing all the management, finding tenants. And it got to be the point where about 50 units, I couldn't do it all. I couldn't continue to find deals, lease units, work on projects. So at that point in time, we transferred our portfolio over to a couple different third-party management companies. And having the experience of what it should look like was really, really helpful. We learned a lot doing that. And then we kind of used third-party property management up until about 120 units where we took it in-house. So now we self-manage all of our units. Got a phenomenal team. Max really handles that, and then Mike handles one on the other side. So we've got two property management companies, but they do the exact same thing. The last couple years, we haven't done a whole lot. Just it's harder and harder to find smoking deals that cash flow and, like Dave said, and make money. So this last year especially, we've been focused on, we're converting more and more of our units and buying some new stuff for Airbnb. So that's becoming a bigger and bigger piece of our portfolio. It doubles to sometimes triples rents. And we're at about 70 Airbnb units, Airbnb and midterm rentals, so furnished rentals basically. So that's what we've been doing the last year. And then we've just been working on a lot of systems, and we've bought a couple of big portfolios of houses that we've continued to push rents. And as those units get up higher, tenants leave, and we're constantly probably rehabbing a dozen homes at a time and taking those, making them really nice and then increasing rent. So we're really optimizing our portfolio right now, pushing rents and looking for the next deal. So that's me.
Here we go. You definitely own. I mean, you're into the bar. You have breweries and stuff too, right? I mean, you're doing more than.
Yeah. So I guess we've done some other random stuff.
Like, what's all the asset classes you're doing? I don't think you really even got into it.
No. So we've got RV parks, some commercial properties. We've partnered with some commercial businesses. The first commercial building, we bought a red tag commercial building on 35th and Center, and didn't know quite what we were going to do with it, but we ended up partnering with a husband and wife, and they run a phenomenal brewery. We've got a couple we got a breakfast restaurant and another brewery. And so we've gotten to some commercial businesses where if we own the building, then we might invest in the business as well. We also this last year we're importing more and more building supplies from China, just to save money. And for some of our new construction we're actually able to import by the container load and cut out Home Depot and save a little bit more money to stay cost effective. So, and then like Owen, we've done a couple of hotels that we've converted to apartments. We're anywhere there's value, where there's nobody else interested, we'll go dig in and solve weird problems like the frat house, or converting an extended stay to long-term apartments, or we bought a church and a school before. So it's really, really random properties nobody else wants, we'll take a look at. So
well, that's why you got the name Ben Swiss Property Cat. Do a little bit of everything. So again, ideally you guys are coming up and asking the questions, but I will keep asking questions as long as this mic is open. And so I will start off with Owen Dashner. Owen, the question is for you. Hard money lending basics. Could you explain the fundamentals of hard money lending for our attendees, especially highlighting the differences from traditional financing options to real estate investments?
Who in here has gotten a hard money loan before? Okay, we got about half, I think, half the audience. So this is a really good and common question. So for those that are just getting into real estate investing, the biggest problem is capital, right? So when everybody starts, they don't have access to like a big line of credit or a sugar daddy or sugar mama or whatever. And it's certainly a cheat code if you do have that. And if you can get bank lines of credit, that is the way. So you can buy stuff equivalent to cash, reposition it, sell it, whatever you're going to do. It opens up a lot of things for you. If you don't have access to that, another way to approach growing your business and transacting. So what a lot of people will do is they need capital to take down a deal. Maybe they're good at finding deals. What we look for in a project from a borrower is margin. We want somebody that comes to us and they have a good deal. That is the first thing that we look at. Whereas if you went to a bank, the first thing they look at is you. And I'm not saying we don't look at the borrower. Obviously we do as well. But if you're going into First National Bank or even a commercial bank locally here, they're going to pull your credit. They're going to ask for, your tax returns. They're going to ask for a personal financial statement. They're going to pull your pants down financially. Let's look at all your stuff. And it's a painful process to go through. It really is. And especially if you're getting a conventional loan or something that is more conforming where they're going to sell it on the open market. I have not done one of those in almost 15 years. That's how much I hate them. I would rather pay hard money interest than go through another conventional loan. And I'm not kidding. The difference is, so the name hard money, there's a misconception with it. Hard money is talking about the asset. Hard assets are stuff you can touch. So it's gold, it's, stuff, it's real estate, it's assets that have value that you can put your hands on. Hard money loans are based on the asset itself. So if Dennis brought a property to us and he has it under contract for $100,000 and it's a really good deal, and we will basically say, okay, Dennis, what are you buying it for? What's the address? And we're going to pull comps on it, right? So we're going to do our research and say, okay, this is a good deal. And we feel comfortable putting our money into you as the borrower into this project. And we're also obviously going to take into consideration your background. So if somebody's like, hey, yo, I watched HGTV this weekend and I feel like I can flip a house. Okay, you're probably not going to want to start with a hard money loan. All right. Now, another big difference between a regular bank and a hard money lender is interest rates. Okay. Interest rates have gone freaking haywire the last 2 years. Everybody is aware of that, right? Like they pretty much have gone up at an unprecedented level, and they have not come back down to where everybody thought was normal. This is actually a baseline that we are sitting in right now. And I could be debated on this, but I just don't see this going down much, if any, for the rest of the year, and maybe, for the foreseeable future. So we had it really good for a really long time. Unfortunately, everybody's like, I'm just going to wait for the market to crash. This is anecdotal, okay, but this is relevant to what we're talking about. If the market crashes, a lot of times people will have the inclination to say, I can't wait until prices drop. I'm going to buy everything. And what actually happens is when the market craters, everyone is scared, right? Banks are not going to lend money. Real estate is a tough business when the market is down. And during the great financial crisis, the GFC, 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12, I was just getting started in real estate. I didn't know my ass from a hole in the ground. I used bank financing, a line of credit. I scraped together money off credit cards. I did whatever I could to fund deals. I did not know one hard money lender. I was reading books though, guys. YouTube wasn't around when I started. Okay. So hard money is a tool. And I think that is the misconception when people hear about hard money and high interest rates. They say, oh, I'm not going to pay, whatever 15 or 20 or whatever percent interest rate. That's ridiculous. Okay. Now the better question is, do you have other options to take the deal down? That's the question. So if you don't have other options, well, actually, if you do, use them. Use your sugar daddy, your sugar mama, your line of credit, your bank loan, whatever. Use those until you can't use them anymore. Because guess what, guys? If you're in this business long enough, everyone runs out of money. Everyone. Unless you're Ben Cat. That just recycles everything. But hard money is a tool, and you have to use it in a smart way where you know what you're doing on a project, you have a business plan in mind, you take out that loan, and your job is to reposition that asset and either sell it or refinance out of that hard money loan as soon as humanly possible. And you look at the expense that you're paying for interest as a line item in your business plan, period. Full stop. That's what you look at it as. If you're hung up on the interest rate and like, oh, I could get a conventional loan and I'm just shopping all these lenders and like, guess what? Somebody's already going to buy that deal. Somebody's going to pay a higher interest rate than you are, and they don't give a shit because they're going to sell it while you're still messing around trying to find a bank or a lender or whatever, right? So that's and now granted, that's my hot take as the owner of a hard money lending business. I get it, right? I understand. But I've used it myself, okay? So since I figured out what that all means and how it fits into the grand scheme of a business plan, it's actually a really smart move if you don't have, a lot better options out there. Use it. And there's, guess what? I mean, we're not the only game in town. There's other hard money lenders. There's others in other markets. So explore your options with that. Don't dismiss it out of hand just because you see the interest rate and you think, oh my God, that's so much higher than I can get at First National Bank. It probably is, but First National Bank isn't going to give you that loan.
Okay. That's why they call you Owen Old School Cool Dasher. Capital Colin, we got a question for you here. With 190 million in assets under management and over 2,400 units, could you describe the core investment strategy for Level Wealth Capital? How do you balance risk opportunity when selecting new investments? Ooh.
Hello. I had Chris review these questions. He wanted to correct you. It's 240 million and 2,600 units. So just kidding.
Old details.
Yeah,
I
old
think
details.
I
No,
pulled all
I'm
this
just
off your
kidding.
LinkedIn. You probably need to update
the
it.
value is in the. So here's something also really important, guys. The value is in the equity that's created. It's not in the value of the actual assets. So it doesn't really how much you own. It matters how much the value you purchased it and the value it's worth now. Nothing else matters. You can own $1 billion worth of stuff and it's worth 800 million. You're $200 million in the hole. So just don't get conflated by those numbers. All right, what's your question? Could you describe the core investment strategy? Yeah, we're straight value add investors. What we look for, what I specifically look for is, do we have operations set up in an area? I think that's oftentimes one of the most overlooked things, especially in this last run up. A lot of syndicators were getting into this business because they knew some rich guy that would write a $1 million check and a couple other guys that write some checks that could buy an asset, and they were focused on 22% rent increases year over year. That has stopped. That has come to a complete halt. And they were assuming that this third-party property manager that had pretty spreadsheets was going to be able to put it together. That's why the core of any business is its operations. Everybody up here was talking about systems, what they do. Systems, operations, that's number one. So do we have operations in the area? Two, is it value add based? Are the rents below market? Are they not billing back for utilities? Are there different income opportunities there? Those need to be within the asset. We also look at some different creative strategies as well. So I syndicate deals, meaning I pool investor capital to buy large apartment buildings. These are individuals who are maybe doctors or individuals who are getting out of the real estate game, don't want to self-manage and want somebody to do it for them. And what's really, really important with that is that they cash flow from day one, guys. There will be opportunities. I am guessing Ben Katz's frat house made $0 day one. We all get that, guys. There's apartments that are completely vacant. You look at the P&L and it's garbage. As long as you can see a very quick line of sight to cash flow, or that it's cash flowing from day one, that's the number one rule. We don't go through an appreciation, natural appreciation play like most coastal cities have gone through. It is forced appreciation. Now, things have changed in the last couple of years, so our investor expectations have changed. It was happening for a while. 12, 24 months in, we could refinance 100% of the capital. We've moved that timeline 5 to 7 years. Now, do we think we can do it in 3 to 4 years? Absolutely. But that's our new expectation. Because to Owen's point, and I've been saying this for 2 years, and I know I have text somewhere where everybody thought rates were going to go down, and I kept saying they were going to go up because it made no sense because inflation was out of control. I don't know if rates are going to come down. None of us know. The Fed has control of it. Don't assume rates are going to go down. In fact, you should do your underwriting with rates going up and cap rates going up as well. That is how you should underwrite. That's how we underwrite every single one of our deals. We did not expect a 4%, 5% bump in interest rates, but we locked in debt, 7, 10-year long-term debt. So that's another thing. We're looking at good debt in these projects. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Is that what you asked, Ted?
Yep, you got another question.
Oh, perfect.
3 questions for you.
Okay.
Do you use any government money, city, state, local, county, whatever, on your deals or no?
We have not. So we've been approved for TIF financing for 2 different projects. Yeah. One of them stalled out because interest rates went up from 3.5% to basically 6%. So we are still looking at developing that project. So that's TIF. There are some different types of credits out there. Gosh, I really wish I remember the guy's name. But they're energy efficient credits. I can get, So there's PACE financing, but there's other things where basically the bank will participate with the local state. This is in Nebraska, and the state will lend you the money at 0%. The bank participates at their normal rate. So basically you're cutting your interest rate in half. Now these have to be for energy efficient items. I can't remember exactly what it's called. We did get approved with that. We ended up selling the building, but it was basically going to be a $300,000 loan. We were going to do all the new HVAC systems, new roof, because it was going to show energy efficiency, and we were going to get it at 4%. And that's when rates are at 8%. So
Douglas County, City of Omaha, Sarpy County, State of Nebraska, and the federal government have all thrown money our way. It helps to reduce my exposure, but what sucks, it extends the hell out of these deals. There's an $18 million warehouse we're going to be putting up that's right on the border of Iowa and Nebraska. It's tainted with arsenic, but the Army Corps of Engineers have certified it that if I put a vapor barrier, I can do warehousing and manufacturing. So look at government money. It's a good thing. Second thing, I think I just answered my own question on price drop. One of the things that I offered the dude for 18 million, drop it to 16 million, and I'll give him a piece of the rental income at the end of every year. And he said yes.
Interesting.
I was absolutely stunned.
So almost like so how does that differ from a seller carry? And does it go into perpetuity? Or, I mean, the seller carry obviously has a note that you're going to pay back. So what's the incentive for him, or how are you structuring that? That's interesting.
Drop it from 18 million to 16 million, and I'll boost the annual payment that I give him on the rental income, because I don't want to put any money down. And on all of these deals, I don't put a penny of my own money down. So I'm telling him, if you're not hurting for cash, it makes sense for you to let me boost the rental income every year that I give you. You drop the price on the front end.
Okay, so basically you're going to repay him that, though, the $2 million over a period of time.
Yeah. If he's alive.
Yep. So some sort of seller carry. Yeah. I mean, similar. That's interesting, though. That's a good way of phrasing it.
The third thing is the private real estate investment trust, similar to what the first gentleman was saying. And you're right. I can
money.
Fucking, stand Cobalt Federal Credit Union. We have 7 dudes from Texas A&M, the greatest university on earth, that have
Is that where Johnny Manziel played?
Oh shit, yes. and we just stole Trev Alberts. Sorry, the guy's a dick, but he's a good AD. Anyway, 7 of us have all done pretty well financially, and those are the ones that said, Chris, you're the brainiac that came up with this. We're going to pool our money, and then you go do it. On your private, basically real estate investment trust, did you actually put it in a trust, or did you just say, hey, dudes, write me a check? Because my attorney's freaking out that we haven't actually formed a trust account. I was like, I know all these guys. I'll kill them if they bounce the check.
I just want to clarify. Are you talking about the liquid lending business?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a fund. It's not a REIT.
Okay.
It's an SEC fund that we started for accredited investors.
Right.
So it's 2 to 4 year hold period.
Right.
Yep.
Oh shit! I didn't know there was a 4-year hold period. Because all these 7 guys are, including me, are accredited investors according to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And the Colorado branch of the SEC said, Chris, you're okay for now. And that was for now. It kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give the asterisk. Not an attorney, not an SEC attorney, not an accountant. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, when we started it, basically, like if you're pooling money, right? So and Colin, you would know way more about this than I do, but you're
just take a picture of it?
Yeah, you're looking at if you're taking money from the. This is being recorded, so it's probably a bad idea. But if you're taking money from friends and family, I would say it's a lot.
Right.
You don't want to necessarily advertise that on the radar, but you can pull money as a JV.
Well,
but if you start raising money from people you don't know.
Right. That ain't happening.
Yeah, and you need to have a framework around that, and that's why the SEC is in place, which you obviously know. But yeah, when we were raising money for our liquid lending business, it started with friends and family, and then we had a lot of people were like, "What are you guys paying for a yield?" And then that's when we started having put our big boy pants on and call an SEC attorney.
Thank you, man.
No, I was just going to say 506C is for accredited investors. So anybody individually that's made $200,000 a year for 2 years in a row, or is a couple $300,000 a year, or has a net worth of $1 million, not including their primary residence. 506B, I would definitely look at the definition, but it's basically friends and family type money that invest. You've had mutual relationships. They have an understanding of your business. It's not the first time you've met them. If you have a 506B fund, you cannot advertise at all, because what the SEC is assuming that you can advertise through a 506C is through accredited investors, that those individuals are more sophisticated and can be looking at an advertisement and hand you their money for an investment. So
Piggyback quick on that. I try and break things down a little as simple as possible, right? Simple mind. But your joint venture, you can put as many of those together as you want with people like you're working on. So if you go beyond that, then you're into more of a syndication type model. So if you want to do one major project with multiple people, then spend the time, effort to put together the legal documents on a joint venture. You can spend 20, 30, 40,000 pretty easily on one deal and legal fees to generate a proper and safe for everyone joint venture. If you're going to do that multiple times with the same people raising capital and spelling that out differently, then you want to get into more of a legally protected trust type document where you don't have to keep repeating those documents over and over again. Just a simpler thought on that, I guess.
Well, Brad, the older brother, you can keep that mic right there in your hand. See how I did that, Dave? Yeah,
it's hard to tell for some, I know.
So storage units is a hot topic right now, and so I just want to touch on this. Identifying potential storage unit investments. What are key factors do you look for when evaluating potential storage unit investments? And how do you assess the viability and profitability of a location?
So for us, I own one storage unit facility. It's fairly small, and quite frankly, we stumbled into it. A business partner of mine, he's got a place down at the Ozarks, and he takes some people down there, and it was a family friend of the people they travel with frequently that had a storage unit. So we inherited the ideal mom and pop unit. It's roughly 8,000 square feet. We're at 47 units on that thing. But we got it for an amazing price. Somebody wanted to sell it, and they had been essentially going to antique shows for the last 40 years, and half the units were filled with their own shit. That's it. They didn't have a lot of tenants, and what they did have was grossly under-rented. So if you think about it from kind of a simple, hey, how do I get value out of a single-family home? Let me go buy. How many people have had a purchase of a single family rental that someone owned that they hadn't changed rents in 30 years? Well, that happens sometimes, but not to that extent. In your smaller storage unit facilities, that's a fairly legitimate thing that can happen. Rents don't get raised for 10, 20, 30 years. So it might seem small. Well, it's only $45 and it could be $60. That's not a big hike. Well, it is if you have 80 units or whatever. And it's Colin, I'm sure, and all these guys up here look at that when they have 100 or 200 or 300 unit apartment complexes. A small tweak in that many units makes a big deal. In storage, your dollars don't have to be as extravagant to get the same effect. So it's pretty easy for small jumps to make a big difference in storage. But valuation wise, for most people, at least for me and anybody in my capacity of purchasing, I'm not we're not any major public or cube storage kind of facility, right? So you're looking for the smaller units that you can do in the simplest manner possible for management, right? It all boils down, kind of Colin touched on it earlier too, with the management. How important is management? Well, that's important in about anything. The operational side is important, and we're quite frankly learning some of that. That's just kind of what we have to do.
I know I was just looking this weekend at a property for Owen, and it was a 70 unit on Fort Crook. I think it was like 265,000 just for the storage units. Does that number sound right? And it was 70 units, but I mean, the fence was half tore down. A couple of them had the missing garage doors. It looked like people just went ahead and just, only 20% of them are rented. And literally the doors, people were just moving their stuff into units and storing their stuff there. And
Yeah, no,
no
those are the places you want. The difficulty of kicking people out, it's not people. There's not people living there. Yes, it can be.
There could be.
And that's a thing. But again, it's still not as difficult to remove someone living in a storage unit as it is an apartment. It's much quicker, much more swift, and it's a lot easier and a lot less legal headache to get rid of those things. And I mean, I'm always, back to the construction side. Hey, where can I add value? Well, the more ran down the place is, the better. But
I mean, I was at a storage unit just last week, and I noticed somebody's feet was hanging out from underneath a door, and I think they're living in it.
So that is not the case, but I do appreciate that you brought that to our attention, Ted. We did look into that immediately, and no, they are they're in there daily, but they're basically buying and selling furniture, and they're
I wasn't gonna name drop the
cordless
business.
drills. That's
so.
it. So.
That's good to know.
No, we were good. I was worried somebody was living in there too.
Okay, so Dave Deal, Architect Bader, got a question for you. Wholesaling large apartment buildings. Can you describe your approach to wholesaling large apartment buildings and how it differs from wholesaling single-family homes or smaller multifamily units? What strategies have you found most effective in this niche?
I mean, there's not a huge difference in wholesaling house or apartment. Like it's you go back to fundamentals. I always ask, what's the seller's situation? So that's number one. I don't really look at the numbers on any of these apartments. They're huge. I mean, I'll do 100, 200 unit apartment buildings, and I don't look at the numbers that much because I don't trust them. I've seen numbers that are way too low and that are not real, and I've seen numbers that are way too high and they're completely not real. So first things first, you ask, what's the situation, the seller, and has it been shopped around? And usually, if I get two good answers on those questions, and then I'll do a deep dive and kind of figure out what the numbers should be. Most of the stuff I'm buying on a pro forma, meaning future, what I think it should be at, because I don't trust nobody when they send me numbers. I've seen all of them have been wrong that I've ever got almost in my life. So you figure out the answers to the first two questions: the seller management situation, has it been shopped around? And that will tell you most stuff. And then I put a big emphasis on year built. If it's built in the 1960, it's a much different price per unit than the 1980 and 2000. They're just worth more. And after I go through that and get a good price per unit, then, honestly, I do third location. I mean, the location's super important, obviously, but like you got to get those first two things first. But I'll do the location, figure out comps on the location, and then do more of a deep dive into the numbers where they should be at.
And how are you comping those properties? Are you using an agent, or is there a certain software you're using?
I'm just in the market a lot. I love calling brokers on stuff that was listed and just feeling them out and being like, oh, how many offers did you get on that? There was a 96 unit up here in La Vista, I believe, and they got 33 offers on a $9 million property. So I want to know the supply and demand of that exact asset. It's very important to figure out the supply and demand of that asset. Like it's business 101. Like you figure out the supply and demand of a 10 unit building, what they're selling for, how fast they're selling, how many offers are in on the property. Like I'm just constantly calling anything I see listed, talking to every investor like I can find that's buying apartment buildings, seeing where they're buying at, what are they paying price per unit, what's a great deal here, it's just constantly talking to them. And yeah, and then you can use Reonomy or CoStar, like Jake has CoStar. Like they have really good data. You can run comps really fast on that. And I like Zillow too. I'll still just comp stuff out on Zillow, like what's for rent on Zillow in this location. So I can figure out exactly, you know, have prices declined, you know, how long has this thing been for rent in this particular location? Have they had to do a price reduction or not? And I just, you know, it's constantly testing the supply and the demand of that asset.
I feel like we need to do a re-event just on that topic.
I mean, you could go down a whole rabbit hole. Yeah.
Okay, Swiss Army knife, Ben Cat. I got a question for you on campgrounds. Campground investments. Investing in campgrounds is a niche market. What has attracted you to this type of investment, and what are the key factors you considered when evaluating campgrounds? And before you can get into that, can you tell us about the campgrounds you do have and where they're at?
Okay, yeah, we've got a couple properties on the Elkhorn River, Blondo and Maple, that go into the Elkhorn, and then I think it's been a couple years now. We bought a larger park RV park in Bartlett, Iowa. So what draw me there is low taxes, low insurance, but similar rent. So I mean, they're a great value, and the stuff we bought, there wasn't a lot of demand. We got great deals on the stuff we got. The Bartlett property was had been flooded 4 or 5 years ago and never got put back together. So it was a great value add and really random. It was never marketed, and it was just a smoking deal. So our RV pads will rent for similar to like a 1-bedroom apartment we have in Midtown over the course of the summer. And there's no upkeep. There's nothing to fix. Property taxes are really, really low, and insurance is really low. So that's, I think the biggest value is just they're much cheaper to operate, and they make a lot, they cash flow really, really well. So finding them is the challenging part.
What kind of maintenance do you have for that, or what's required on some of those?
Making sure the plumbing and electric works, and like Bartlett has individual meters, so those tenants are there all summer or all year, and they're paying their own electric. We have a big pump house, and I think the biggest thing is making sure you have safe water. We have to send in testing, I believe, weekly or monthly to the state, and making sure we have clean water because people use that every day. The Elkhorn's challenging because that water is really poor. It's got lots of iron and stuff in it, so our water conditioning systems are expensive out there. But really, there's nothing else to break besides, I mean, a backed up.
How about your management?
We've got, so the RV parks are great because typically, at least over the summer, we have camp hosts. And there's these people that travel around, and they want to park in a park for a summer and kind of hang out. So they typically get subsidized or free rent, and then lots of those, and then they park there, and then they handle resident issues. We do have a full-time, we have one full-time person, Kelly, who's kind of running between the 3 parks. But other than that, we have camp host, and then like random maintenance guys that we also use throughout the rest of our portfolio. So they're pretty there's not a tremendous amount of maintenance, and they're pretty easy. We're doing longer term where people are doing monthly. We do a little bit of short term. We've got some tiny houses in Bartlett, and that's a little bit more work, but mostly people are monthly. They're paying online. They're required to pay online, or they're signing up and prepaying for a summer, for a full year. So it's a great gig.
So what do you do when they don't pay? You get a dozer on site?
Dozer into the river. No, we haven't. I don't know if we've had to evict. I don't know if we go through the eviction process. I don't know. We haven't had very many of those, and I don't deal with kicking people off. So
you had a challenge though, because you hosted an Omaha Real Estate Meetup event there where you showcased your tiny houses.
Yeah, so the Elkhorn site, we got in trouble because we put, those are in the floodway, so you can't have permanent structures, and we had cargo containers that we converted in tiny homes right along the river. And somebody got, basically you're working with the DNR, Department of Natural Resources, and they can be pretty touchy on what you put next to the river. Our Bartlett piece, we have a levee out there, so we can have permanent structures on one side of the levee, and then the other side, technically it's supposed to be movable within, I think 24 or 48 hours. And there's in Nebraska, it's a 6-month lease period on the flood side, and it might be the same in Bartlett, but you have a limited for any property you have in the flood zone. It's a shorter season, so you can't lease it out all year.
So most of you guys, probably all of you guys on that panel there, would be considered mentors in some form or fashion. As a newer investor, someone sitting here who probably would be intimidated by approaching you guys and asking, do you offer mentorship, or are you willing to partner on a deal or anything like that? What are your views on something like that?
I think most of us are kind of assholes. You wouldn't really want to work with us.
I mean, I do it every day. I mean, people call me every day. I love it because like people ask me, what do you think we should do with this deal? I mean, I got a call yesterday about a $165 million deal in Miami. It's like, I don't know why he's calling me, but he's part of a mastermind and I'm known as an apartment guy who can figure out a deal. So yeah, I went over it and like, I have no problems doing that. I enjoy it. And it's like, you know, he's going to probably have more questions because that's a real complicated deal. And then like a lot of times I'll get a JV deal out of it. Most of the time, like I get a lot of deals from other wholesalers.
At the end of the day, it's fun for me, it helps me sharpen myself by talking to other people and helping them with deals. It brings up questions that you might not have otherwise thought of, or, you know, different solutions to different problems. The more you're exposed to things, the more you grow and people bring you stuff, and it's kind of fun.
I mean, reach out and ask. I've reached out to all these guys up here and asked them a question at some point in time, and
we're all deal junkies and we all agree. I mean, any of us will talk real estate any day, every day. So it's something we love to do. It's really easy, and anybody who wants to talk real estate, I very rarely say no talking real estate. So, and then we've had a handful of people who come in and then come work in their office. We've had interns, we've had college interns, we've had people that want to learn some, and they come work for a while. So anywhere we can get help's always great, and never say no to looking at deals for sure.
I was having a conversation on Reddit. Anybody on here on Reddit? Anybody like Reddit? I know it's super obscure. It's like they have a real estate investing thread and a hard money thread that I started like just chiming in on conversations. I've talked to 3 people off of Reddit. Like most people in here have never been on it before. So I had a dude from Indiana call me last week, and he was thinking about starting a hard money lending business. And I was just listing some stuff that I'd done over the last couple of years and, you know, challenges we've had and whatever. He's like, do you mind if I call you? And I'm like, yeah, man, give me a call. And we talked for, you know, like 15 minutes or whatever. Referred him to my attorney. They're setting up a hard money lending business in Indiana. No shit. Like this actually happened last week. And so today he reached out to me through LinkedIn, which I don't know how that happened. We're now LinkedIn buddies, I guess. And yeah, and I know it's internet. It's crazy. But I think the misconception with newer investors is that they're intimidated. You know, people are a lot more experienced than you, older than you. Shut up, Ted. That they just feel like they're not worthy of asking you questions. And my response to that is, first of all, you got to get over it. There's nothing that says that you can't go into a room like this where there's probably 100 people. And if there's somebody you really want to talk to and they're constantly approached by other people, that happens a lot. You can just stand there and be a fly on the wall in the conversation. You just say, hey, you mind if I listen in? Right? What's the worst that's going to happen? Are they going to say no? Of course not. But the other thing is this. I think people approach it a lot of times the wrong way. You shouldn't approach it as a transactional situation. Like, mentor me. Anybody in here dated in the past where you've had a really needy person and you're like, wow, like there's just all kinds of alarms going off with what's going on over here, right? Don't be like that. What you want to do is just don't want anything from them. Just hang out, like be nice and be friends. That's your goal should be to make friends with people in this room, not go out only about what you're interested in and who gives a shit if their time is, valuable or whatever. So I see that a lot. I see, new people, they're intimidated or whatever, and then they'll come up and ask and get all nervous. And that's fine. We've all been there. We know we've been there. And I think when you get to a certain level of whatever your business is that you're in, you get to a certain level of expertise or experience in it. Just by accident, you're going to know way more than anybody else that comes up to you that's been doing it less time. But you can share your knowledge with people. But I'm just saying, like, if you go up and approach somebody, don't try to make it a big deal. Like, hey, will you mentor me? Don't be all formal about it. Like, if you have questions, reach out, ask questions. Be cool about it. Don't be creepy. Don't, you know what I mean? I don't know how else to put it. Like, just go out with the intention of building a relationship with somebody. Period.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, two of my mentors are sitting here. I mean, Owen and Ben Cat. Ben taught me more in an hour-long conversation. I mean, 7 figures worth of value in that conversation. Owen, I remember I was really nervous sitting outside of Cobalt parking lot meeting with my first banker, and I called him. He's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, my name's Colin. How are you?" He's like, "Cool, you want to meet?" He just met with me. So guys, to Owen's point, and I think with any relationship, be willing to listen and ask good questions. Ask a good question, like a thoughtful question. Oh yeah, and well, I mean, follow through is just necessary. I've had a lot of people that have wanted to meet with me, and then I like set it up, move around the times, and then something comes up, and oh, sorry. Well, it's yes, yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard to make that appointment again, guys. I mean, because our schedules are busy, but that's fine. We'll make time for anybody. I've had probably 30 different transactions. I mean, me and Bader have done a deal. Owen and I have done a deal. And these all started from conversations in which one person listened, one person brought value, and somebody filled in the gap. Like, if you have any of those skills, like as a newbie, we were all newbies. I was a newbie not long ago. I am still new to a lot of things all the time, and I'm asking the same question for mentorship, but I'm just doing it in a very thoughtful way. There are people way further than me in this industry that I look up to. I mean, I sat down with Jerry Reimer the other day. He is somebody I would consider a mentor, has very, very successful, but he is asking me questions and listening, and I'm doing the same thing by asking him pointed questions to make him think about his processes. So just open into a relationship, just like you're going to find a high school sweetheart, right, Owen? Don't be a stage 5 clinger.
Got a couple questions. First one, I guess, for Brad and Ben. What are some of the challenges? Y'all both have different asset classes. What are some of the challenges managing different asset classes, and how do you overcome some of that?
I have phenomenal teams. So that's my secret sauce, is like my team is so much smarter and they're so much better at doing the job than I am. So I've been really lucky to be around. Building the teams from the beginning is that's how I'm able to go from Airbnbs to commercial to residential to, I mean, Max runs our management company. He does a whole lot, and we did it together for a while now. That's kind of been his baby. So a lot of the asset classes I've gotten into, I'm not the one focused every single day. My every day's head on a swivel. I'm going back and forth between a lot of different things. So building teams is huge. That's how I do it.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, obviously it's easy to see how likable and knowledgeable Ben is, and to go to work for him, I'm sure his team is amazing. It starts at the top. For me, I'm a little newer to a lot of these management things, and everything we do is in-house now at this point. But I buzzed through my story real fast, but one of the mainstays that we have now is through a lot of different marketing and pains over the years, we've built a virtual assistant company, and we're starting to leverage very heavily on anything you can imagine there. So we're hiring out for various things, but in-house that works really well for us, for the management side to have. I mean, I have a large virtual assistant team there that they're specialized in a little bit of everything. And it's working really good to be able to call on anybody for anything, whether it's marketing or web design or SEO management, or just, hey, call and figure this out. What is this? I don't know what this is. I don't know exactly what the best product is to use for marketing storage units, or how the hell to keep track of it, or what a good CRM is for that. And I don't want to spend the time to learn the details of it. I want somebody to figure out all the right questions and then talk to me about it for an hour instead of a 20-hour deep dive. So that stuff has helped me tremendously.
I think building systems has been huge too. I mean, for a long time from 2012 up until 2019, there were deals everywhere, and we'd go buy stuff, and we'd have 20 things floating in the air, constantly juggling. And what happened was we weren't very efficient. We went back, and this last couple of years, we've been putting more systems in place. We've been focused on not having waste. We had tremendous waste and all kinds of. There are some single family houses that we had the same tenant in there for 7 years, and we didn't touch rent. They were paying $600 a month. It's stupid things, but we were so busy we were distracted because we had too many things going. So going back now and thinking through how we run through things now, our teams can do a lot more because we know the system and we know what to go through. We know we should check rents monthly or yearly, or if they're on year leases or whatever. I mean, we had when I first started digging into our rents, we had probably 100 units that had gone over their lease. The lease had said there's month-to-month fees of 25%. There were probably 100 of them we weren't charging. We had the right to do it for years, and it's like, how much income did we lose? But building systems is huge. As you get more diverse and you have a bunch of different balls or assets or whatever out there, having a very clean-cut system is really important too.
I just had a comment here. I was sitting here thinking, like, the five of us have different backgrounds. We're invested in different asset classes. We run our businesses differently. The one thing, or the main thing that I think I see when I look down this table is we are all value add investors, and we all, I use the term margin all the time. Identifying margin is probably the fastest skill set to allow you to be successful in real estate. If you can identify what makes a good deal and know when you have it, everything else can take care of itself. You have to build relationships with people that can do the things that you suck at, or you haven't invested the time and knowledge into figuring out. But if you can identify value, that's what enables, and like Ben was saying earlier, and Dave, when he was talking about, basically researching and finding the nuances of the market and what the market is telling you. If you have that ability, that trumps everything else. You can find money, you can find property management, you can find partners all over the place. And I'll tell you, I have two things I want to share here. One is today. So I have a portfolio of mostly multifamily, but I still have some single families that I bought like in 2008, 9, 10, kind of that range, that I basically rehabbed to the point where they were a flip, but I kept them as a rental. So I didn't want to deal with maintenance and have to nickel and dime and all that. And a lot of them I self-managed, right? And Ben was talking about, they failed for having people that had the same rents for 7 years. Well, guess what? You know what I did today at 1:00 in Council Bluffs, Iowa? I attended an eviction hearing for a tenant that I've had in the same house for 6 years, and I've never raised her rent. And she is a psycho. Like, I mean, bananas. The text thread I have with her. I don't know why I have let it go this long.
That is no way to talk about Jen.
What's that?
Like, wow.
What? Here's what's even funnier about this. So my wife never goes to these, which everybody gives me shit about, but my wife actually went to court with me today because she told me, and I quote, "You never tell me all the details that I really want to hear." So she wanted to go just to see what kind of drama was going to happen today. My point in bringing all this up is I've been doing this for a long time, as we've already established. I went to eviction court by myself today because I haven't raised rent in 6 years. on this tenant. Okay. So me bringing this up is to say to you, don't worry so much about screwing up, because time heals all wounds in income property, right? Now, granted, you don't want to go out and just swing at everything, right? But over time, mistakes you make, you can bail yourself out of them if you are focused on margin and value add in the beginning. It will bail you out of a lot of situations where you can get in major trouble. So there's a lot of different approaches to real estate. There are a lot of different people that have different points of view about things. Some people just want to buy stabilized assets that are turnkey. They pay market value for them. They just need a tax write-off, or they want income coming in, don't want to worry about it. That's all fine and good. But you're not going to, if you are doing that approach, it's not likely that you're going to build a business like these guys have, right? Identifying margin and value allows you to diversify within the real estate sector into different asset classes, even if you don't know how to run all of them, even if you don't know everything about campsites or Airbnbs or whatever. You can find people that do. If you can identify value and you have made the right connections and built the right relationships in this business, there's nothing that you can't do. I started a title company, for F's sakes. I got no idea what I'm doing. Granted, it's not around anymore, but the point is, I've been in a lot of stuff I probably had no business in getting involved in, and it ended up okay because I had the right people that I knew, and I had a good foundation in finding deals, identifying value and margin, and doing it for a long enough period of time that allowed me to leave my frickin' job, right? So I'm 40 years old in the middle of a midlife crisis. I left that part out, but I quit my W-2 20-year career to focus on real estate. And I'm still doing it, even in this shitty market that we're in right now, right? So my point is, get good at identifying value, build relationships, and you can do whatever you want in this business.
Love it. Hey, so we have two people want to ask questions, but I do want to wrap up here in the next about 5 minutes, so we'll try to keep it a short answer. You guys cool with that? Riley, you want to go?
Okay, this question is for the younger Bader brother about future trends in real estate wholesaling. How do you see the landscape of real estate wholesaling changing in the coming years, and especially concerning large apartment buildings? And are there any emerging trends that investors should be aware of?
I mean, the main trends to be aware of are, it's not good. Like, landlords are getting killed out there, and I don't think it's caught up to us because taxes are going up, insurance is going up, maintenance and labor costs are going up, and these prices are kind of being a little stagnant. So you just got to be aware of your expenses. I would keep a very good eye on your expenses because landlords are getting hammered right now, not to mention the liability issues we're having. Like, tenants are getting more apt to sue us. So that's the downside. What was the first part of your question was what again? What do I see in like in the legal issues? Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, it was how do you see the landscape of real estate wholesaling changing in the coming years, especially concerning large apartment buildings?
Like, well, I'm not a lawyer. The law says you cannot, the new current Nebraska law says you cannot publicly advertise a property, which I really haven't done much in years because people keep calling me. Now, I don't know if me talking on the phone is publicly advertising or not, but that's how I do a lot of my deals. And a lot of them, people are coming to me, so I'm not advertising at all. But if I'm wholesaling a lot of houses, which I don't really do anymore, I would definitely get a license. Or I would have somebody with a license, like my daughter just got her license like a month ago, so I'm super proud of her. So like, I'm just gonna have her do all my stuff that involves any sort of wholesaling, like any sort of houses. Like, you should be careful, especially with houses. To me, it's not worth the liability risk right now. In South Dakota, it's different. Every state's different. So, and I don't know what they're going to do with these laws. I don't know how much. I heard they're fining people, but I also heard people are people are always going to do bad things. And in any industry, there's going to be a few bad eggs that are going to do bad things, and those people are going to get fined. But if you're a good person, you're doing the right thing, and you cannot publicly advertise properties on social networks. Like, if you do that, you will get fined. But if you don't do that, like, I don't know what they're going to do to you. Like, I don't know how it's going to be regulated, how they're going to, a lot of these city ordinances, like there's a city ordinance in Lincoln where you can't rent to 3 people that are unrelated. Well, do they really come track that? No. I know landlords have been doing it for 20 years, never had a problem. So I don't know how much they're going to crack down on it. I have no idea.
So why wouldn't you, just double close? And I guess my question's kind of leading of building up those relationships. If you know the value, unless I'm missing a law, you can buy it and sell it the next day, correct?
Yeah.
No, you can't? A week later? 2 weeks later? A month later?
It's a pretty gray area from what my lawyer even says. Like,
I'm not saying double closing. I'm saying buy then sell, red ladder. I mean, you identified the value. You're buying it for $100,000 under market. You bought it for $15,000 from Aunt Susie. I'm kidding. But seriously, if you're identifying that value and then you just go and sell it.
Yeah, I don't know what you're supposed to do if somebody goes and puts a house under contract that's on the market, and then somebody else comes and is like, I want to give you 50 more thousand. Like, I have to have the house. Are they supposed to just walk away and not? Like those are situations that happen every day.
Exactly.
So I don't know if that's illegal now or not. Like, we'll see. We don't know yet. Nobody.
Dave for president.
Yeah.
I would say just quick TED plug, like that's the point of some of these events, right? This networking, if we all communicate and keep in touch on an independent level as well as a group level, who's marketing publicly at that point? We're all discussing things, even if it's a lot of one-on-one conversations. If we all continue to communicate and talk about things, at some point the deals are gonna, they all end up at David at some point, but we'll all be able to know who's got what with the conversations and the communications that we have. So we're circumventing any of those issues in my mind. That's how I would have that argument in court if it came to that.
I guess a quick question to finish. I know most of you have said that you had partners at some point or have made partnerships in businesses. I guess a question would be, at what point in your life did you feel like it was a good move to get a partner? And also, what did you look for in a partner?
I've had lots of partners. Some of them, I think starting with the end in mind is really important. So identifying that individual's goals long-term, really long-term, understanding how their morals and ethics are. There's a lot of shady ways you can make money in this business, and that's a really good way to end your business really quickly. I think those are 2 foundations you have to have. Now, if it's a one-off transaction and their end goals are maybe not yours, that's fine. Just understand that. Maybe you create a joint venture, but you're not doing an entity. For me, I just found it was a lack of capacity, and also I suck at a lot of things, like a ton of things. So I found people that were better at other things that could complement me in those areas, but still had the same drive. So that's a huge thing. Like, if we're talking about long-term partnership, they've got to have the same drive. You got to trust that person all the time, because at some point they're going to have access to 175 of your bank accounts. And you need to know that you're going to be able to trust those individuals with basically everything. A really good litmus test is to go through a bad time and see how each other handles it, and the conversations that you have after that, because those will happen. I would say don't jump in with the thought of it being a long-term partnership. Think of it just like dating. You want to date for a little while. Do a deal, see how that goes, see how everybody reacts to it. But what I've seen so many people do when they first get started, somebody's got the money, somebody's got the skills, and the person with the money says, I'm still going to help though, and we're going to split it this way. And then sure enough, the work never gets split the same. The person that does the work, maybe increases the value 10x of it, is compensated the same or less, and is then, disgruntled in the whole situation. So the way I started my property management company with partners is I said that I'm going to be the sole one of responsibility, meaning that we're going to be 50-50 on the deal. Typically, we each brought the money. There were some instances somebody else brought it and I borrowed it from them. But I said, I'm going to get compensated like a property manager would. This is when I was self-managing up to like 90 units. I said, I'm going to get 10% of it so that when something goes wrong, you blame me, but I'm getting paid for it. Even though you have skills to help me, and I'm going to ask you a ton of questions throughout this process, and I would hope that you would help me in it, the buck stops with me. So I think that, there should be some compensation involved with the partnership. I also just think, just date, be careful, and really understand the person's goals, understand their habits. Like what does this person do when they're not around you? What are they doing on the weekends? What's driving them? Because if you're really looking to dive in for a long-term partnership and their goal is to hang out with their buddies every night, going to the bar, I mean, except for the second Tuesday of the month, first Tuesday of the month, that's the one example, but you just really want to be careful with that. So.
A lot of what Colin said. For me, it's what's their true north? Are they good? Do they have good morals, good ethics, a good outlook on life? Or do they do the right thing? Do they have integrity? So that's the number one thing. The next thing is what's their work ethic like? To Colin's point, you may like somebody a lot, but they're just lazy and they aren't going to put in the work to move the needle on your business for what your mutual goals should be, right? So work ethic, true north, what skills are they bringing to the table? Or is it financial? Like, what is their role going to be? And do you have clearly defined roles? You don't want to hire, or you don't want to partner with your buddy that does exactly the same thing that you do because you think he's hilarious or she is or whatever, right? So you want to have somebody that has not necessarily offsetting skills, but someone that completes the picture of what you need to execute in your business. So you don't want to have a huge gap when you're partnering with one or more people because you all have the same personality or the same skill set, right? So you want to fill in the blanks with the people that you involve in your business. And then the last thing is, do they have really annoying habits? Like, you marry a spouse for a long time, their breathing really starts annoying you. You hear people that got divorced, like, how are you breathing so loud? Like, so I'm just saying, keep your heads up for that type of stuff. It'll come back and bite you later.
I don't need to say a whole lot else there. These guys covered a ton. I think the quick short answer there is partners are critical to scaling. Not necessarily in the beginning. It just depends on what you want. But obviously, the partnership conversation could go on for hours in and of itself. But partners are critical if you want to continue growing very quickly at all.
Yeah, I'm the worst at partnering, but I want to say something like you just got to figure out, if they have something that you don't, and you can create value to them and they can create value to you in a massive way, then you should look at that. And they have to be on the same level and the same morals as you.
I'm becoming more and more less is more. Great partners are phenomenal. They create tremendous value, but bad partners are just a royal pain in your ass, and it's just bad, and it takes way too much time and emotional energy to deal with bad partners. So I think going slow is a really good idea. Testing some projects out is a good idea, because I've got most of my partnerships are mostly 50-50, and I probably could count my good partners on one hand. So they've my group's great, and go slow.
That's awesome. Can we get a big round of applause for these guys? Don't be intimidated to come up to these guys and ask them questions. I tell you what, when I was looking to take over this group, I called most of these guys up and I said, hey, I'm not sure if I'm the right guy to do this. I can't get in front of you guys and actually get on the mic and speak. And they're like, no, just go do it. You're fine. You're fine. And it just speaks to these guys and reaching out to them and being my mentors in this. So appreciate you guys very much. You guys are great people, great souls. And I love being around you guys. And Like I said, get to know these guys. They'll help you grow, and they're great people to have in your pocket as a friend. So thank you again for that. But, couple things I'm just going to do before we conclude here tonight. Any visitors in the room that have never been here before? Can you raise your hand just so we know you are? Wow, we got a handful of them. So welcome to group. Get to know the person next to you. This is the reason we ask these upcoming questions is so in case you're looking to get involved with something that's not in your traditional real estate, or it is. But if you guys do this, please raise your hands, even our panel up here. But is there anybody that owns multifamily properties? Can you raise your guys' hands so we know who you are? What about single family? Anybody doing single family rentals? And where's our wholesalers? Any wholesalers in the room? No, we got at least one. Legal wholesaler. Legal wholesaling. There's a legal way of doing this. There's just a lot of paperwork. How about anybody doing trailer parks? Mobile home parks. Mobile home parks. Can you do trailer parks too, or can you do trailer parks and mobile home parks? Okay. What about storage units? Anybody doing storage units? And where's our rehabbers, flippers? Any rehabbers, flippers in the house? And what about commercial owners? Anybody doing commercial properties? And contractors? Any contractors in the room? See a couple hands. How about contractors looking for business? Yeah, openings in your schedule? It's a running joke. I mean, I say it every time, but it's true. Out-of-state investors? Anybody doing out-of-state investing? I was included in that. And what about midterm rentals? Anybody doing midterms? I'm doing midterms. Short terms? Anybody doing short terms? And hard money lenders, private money lenders? Crowdfunding? Anybody doing crowdfunding? Yeah. Land developers? Any land developers in the room? Property managers? Who's doing property management? And 1031 exchange investors? Anybody looking into that? What about note investing? Anybody getting into note investing? And real estate coaches, or any real estate coaches in town promoting your services? No, I'm not either. And then last but not least, where's our realtors that do investment properties, investment realtors? It's always good to know investment realtor because they're the ones that are actually doing it and know what they're talking about when it comes to running the numbers, that's for sure. So thank you guys. If you raise your hand as a visitor, please look to the people that are at your table that you want to get to know in your industry that you want to get involved with. But we have a mic here, so if anybody has anything to promote, something to sell, business to shout out, this is your chance. But do go up to Mike so we can get you. Man, everybody's shy today. There we go.
I got one thing. I'm looking to buy like an HVAC or a plumbing company. If anybody happens to run across like a mom and pop, like if the old man's getting ready to retire, has like 10 to 15 employees, $1 to $10 million, a plumbing, HVAC company, electrical company, that I would love to buy one of those locally.
Are you looking at purchasing the whole thing or partnering?
Well, we'll have to talk about it. You know, I got to test your morals. We got to go down.
You know what it's like. We shared a cold tub together. We're fine.
That's true.
We've been intimate already.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, I'm Chris Borngreeby. I have recently started staging houses for other realtors and investors. So hit me up if you need any staging help. Thank you. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this too. I'm also a realtor with Strong Pro Realty and the Real Broker, but I help other realtors. So.
So I also host a meetup group. I'm really original, Omaha Real Estate Meetup. We're hosted the third Wednesday of the month, and we have some gracious hosts and proud speakers this month. Kim and Tim Stevens, they're going to be there April 17th. So it's 254 North 114th Street. So basically the Dodge Expressway. So that's April 17th. They've done how many short sales? 600 short sales. They're also just the nicest people, just in general. So sincerely, wealth of knowledge. So April 17th, everybody's welcome to come. Would love to see you there. So yes, if you guys go on Facebook, Omaha Real Estate Meetup, there's a group, and that's where all the postings are there as well. So.
Hi, my dad told me to come up here and say this. But I'm going to. If anybody of you guys don't know, I'm Riley Eccles, Nate Eccles' daughter, standing in the back over there. I have flipped my first house last year when I was 16, and now I'm going to be on a like an HGTV kind of thing, like a little kids house flipping kind of show. And they haven't officially like launched it yet, but he told me to come up here and ask if anyone has a house dirt cheap, because I need a house that will be held for a very long time for holding costs. So if anybody has one, raise your hand. I know it's gonna.
You
be
might not
really
want them to
hard.
raise their hand. You might want them to just come to you because then the
Oh,
lead's
yeah,
going to
yeah,
go
yeah,
away.
No, yeah, but yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else want to jump on the mic? John? It teeters all the way up. There you go.
Shoot. That's all right. I can just talk like this. All right, guys. Well, my name's John Albers, and I have a bone I'd like to toss to you guys that are in commercial businesses and possibly have businesses just in general. So what I would like to do is there's a new product that has come to the flooring industry. It is a product that is cured by UV light, and it cures in 10 seconds, hard to the touch, move back in. So what I'm looking for is someone that has about 1,200 square feet and who wants to do a buff and coat with this product. I will cover all of the labors, and I just want the materials to be paid for and to make enough to cover the cost of the UV machine itself. So if anyone's looking for this, hit me up. So it's a polyurethane. It's two-component.
Can you get closer so we can hear you?
It's a two-component polyurethane, similar to our coatings that we're already doing on all of our floors that I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. But this product is cured with UV light, similar to your wife's nails. You know, they put a product on, it goes
acrylic
shellac. Well, that's what it is there. But so you put your product on, and then you come back with a UV light, and you go over the floors with this UV light, and in roughly 10 to 15 seconds, the floor is cured 100%. So this is something that's pretty much unachievable with any other product, and it is extremely, extremely wear resistant and is great for commercial applications. Yes, just for wood floors. So if anyone's interested in this, come up with me. We can talk after this, but that's all I got.
And John owns Alvarez Flooring, which is a sponsor of the RIA. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, just two more things here. We'll call it a night. Again, thank you to our sponsors. A1 Kitchen and Bath back there. Girls, can you raise your hand so we know you are? Go talk to them. They have great cabinets, countertops. I've used them for granite in all my personal homes. They're awesome. Go talk to them. Also, want to thank our drink sponsor tonight, homes.com. They have some materials on the back resource table, including flyers for all of our upcoming events, including our golf outing coming up. So definitely check that out. Grab a flyer because I got to drag all those home if you guys don't grab them. And so check those out. And then to conclude this evening, we do have our book giveaway, and you do have to be present. We have 2 books to give away. Rob is back there. I'm gonna go all the way back here, unless you're gonna have to mess with your cameras a little bit. So we're first book we're giving away is the Purple Bible by JM Real Estate Capital. So Rob is gonna mix it around here. I'll hold it for you. How about that? And okay, who is it?
Eric Pratt.
Eric Pratt, are you in here? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Moving on.
Guy Williams. Guy Williams.
Guy Williams, there he is. Come on down. Have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad yet? Have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad? No. Oh, it's a must right there. Thanks for coming down. Appreciate it. Actually met Guy at the gym, so I'm glad you've been making out here. Okay, the next one is Recession-Proof Real Estate Investing by the famous Jay Scott. This is Owen Dasher's favorite podcast I think we've ever had on. Ben Cat, just so you know, I gave you my vote. Okay, this one we're gonna go Jim Enterbach with Realty One Group. There you go. Have you read this, Recession Proof? Okay, so what we do. Nice. When you're lucky, you're lucky. So what we ask you to do is when you're done reading the book, staple your business card on the inside and bring it back, recycle it, give it back to somebody else, and then we'll have more books to give away. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Make sure you guys check in with their sponsors, see what they're offering. We're going to be at the Burger Theory after this. We ask that you try to clear out the room in the next 10, 15 minutes so the cleaners can come in and clean up after us so they're not here too late. But thank you very much, and you guys have a great night. Give a big round of applause for our amazing panel tonight.